Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So, I'm a transformation coach, an energy healer, shamanic practitioner, and the spiritual head of the Transformation Center, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So, what I do is help you discover who you truly are and let go of who you are not. And this will allow you to really live that life of your dreams, live authentically, be who you are. So I love working with people individually in coaching and healing. And also at the center, we offer a variety of classes, we have workshops, experiences such as drumming and journeying, which is shamanic practicing. We have a shamanic clinic once a month, and that's on Zoom. So some of our stuff is online, some of it is in person. It's really up to you, wherever you are. And we try to meet you where you are. So I'm going to put up our contact info, and you can check that out. Our website is the Transformation Center CT, which is for Connecticut.com. And an event calendar that shows everything that's happening in a given month. You can register for most of the things online. We have a lot of sound baths. We did quite a few during the warmer months, and I think we have one more coming up in October 2022. Yes, so that's coming up in a couple of weeks, so you can check that out. Yeah, so everything is right there. It's easily accessible. And I specifically love working with beginners. So if this is all new to you, just call, text, email, whatever you want. And we'll just have, and I do offer half an hour free consultations. So anytime that you're ready for that, just let me know. Yes. So on the Spiritual Connection Show, it's all about connection, which is one of my core values. I started it because I wanted to meet people who are on the path, who really have something to offer to you as you're watching them and hearing what they have to say, and allowing you to connect more fully with your own spiritual self. So each week I have a different guest. We find out what their journey is, what they're up to. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I'm very excited that my guest tonight is Lauri Ingram. Welcome to the show, Lauri.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here and have this conversation with you.
Yeah, so we haven't met in person yet, but we will soon. But I'm going to put up your contact info, and so people know how to contact you while I'm just reading a little bit about you, so people can get to know you before we get started. So Lauri Ingram is a spiritual transformation coach. She works with people who are feeling a bit lost, unfulfilled, and seeking to live authentically by exploring and deepening their spiritual life. In addition to being an ordained interfaith minister and certified interspiritual counselor, Lauri is grounded in mindful practices. With over 40 years in the corporate world, she is uniquely qualified to understand those stresses and challenges. Lauri works with clients both virtually and in person, and her studio is in Bethany, Connecticut. So again, welcome to the show, Lauri. Thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Oh, as you know, I always like to start asking my guests the first question. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your personal spiritual journey, how you got to where you are, really anything you want to share.
Sure. And whenever I'm introduced and I hear that 40 years in corporate life, I chuckle to myself, but that's really been my journey. But yes, 40 years in corporate information technology. And about 10 years ago, quite honestly, I really didn't have much of a spiritual life, probably until about then. I was raised Catholic, and then everything for many life reasons went on hold. A lot of personal challenges and the things that happen to all of us. But it was 10 years ago, I walked into my boss's office in Hartford where I worked, and I told her that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't just get up and go to work and go home. that there was something missing and I didn't know what it was. And I'll never forget the conversation we had, because she said to me, you have to find your why. You have to find the reason why you go to work every day. And she explained to me that for her, it wasn't so much being, at the time, she was a vice president of infrastructure. That really wasn't it. For her, it was helping women break the glass ceiling in technology from a career
Ah,
perspective. That was, and so the light bulb went off, and I thought, yes, I need to find the why. I love the people I worked with, but the work wasn't fulfilling. And it so often happens when we ask those kinds of questions, the universe answers, and I started down a very, very rapid spiritual awakening where I really just started to question everything. And I started to meet a lot of people. And you meet somebody who meets somebody, and I was introduced to the world of really interspirituality, which I know I can explain a bit about, kind of a little bit later there. But it really became to me very apparent that there were things I needed to experience and learn. So my friends at the time really joked that I tried like every modality I could get my hands on for a couple of years. And those
yeah.
and those modalities really opened me up to being more than just who I thought I was. The exploration work I did, I had involved in doing a lot of work with crystals and color therapy and creativity. And at the same time, again, universe answering, I was afforded the opportunity where I worked while still keeping my IT job to become a mindfulness advocate and to bring mindful practices to the people I worked with, because I had started a meditation practice, and it really changed my life. So I started leading meditation groups at work and really began branding myself at work as the mindful one, and had people tell me how much I changed, how less stressed I was, my anxiety levels were, I did totally change. And then unexpectedly, I also found myself with an unexpected breast cancer diagnosis. And then shortly after that, which, I managed to kind of very, gratefully maneuver my way through with ease. I had a calling to go to a seminary and become an interfaith minister. And I spent 2 years in a seminary program on the weekends and an additional 2 years as an interspiritual counselor, learning how to really work one-on-one with folks who are exploring their spirituality, and living in the mystery that we live in that world.
Oh,
And here I am.
that's beautiful. And I love the way you describe that and how things, the synchronicity. So
Yes.
it's like once we do open ourselves up and make ourselves available, then the universe does comply.
It does. It does. And as one of my mentors said to me, think of it, she said, like following breadcrumbs, one breadcrumb at a time, one door opens, you meet one person, you try something, you listen, a lot of listening, a lot of really, deepening that intuitive, that intuitive self that we all have, and getting comfortable with not knowing.
Yes.
Really not knowing what may happen next, but to learn how to enjoy that journey.
Yes, because that's really what it is. It is a journey, and that's why, I ask everybody about their spiritual journey, because it's not a destination. It's like we're still on it, right?
We are always learning, and the modalities that I end up training in are all modalities that help me on my journey. So I bring that to folks, and and just very briefly, I describe myself as interspiritual. Think of it as spiritual but not religious. Interspirituality is that common thread that goes across all all faith traditions, and it's love. The basis of all those traditions is love. And interspirituality is really that common language that we all speak. And with working with a lot of my clients, it's an investigation of what spirituality even means to them. Because it means something very personal to each of us.
Yeah, no, I'm totally in alignment with everything that you're saying. I feel the same way. And I came to the same place through my upbringing was Catholic as well. So we do have a lot in common. And I felt like I was missing that spiritual connection later in life. And I didn't know what I was missing. Like you said, something's missing, but what is it?
Right. Yeah, what is it? And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave your job. Very often it's finding that meaning in your job. And I can share that when I was in seminary, they gave us all stretch assignments. Our deans would work with us each year and give us a stretch. My stretch both years was finding how to be spiritual at work, because that was my challenge. I did not know when I started seminary what I was going to even do with it. And why am I doing this? And how do I do this in a corporate setting? And I have to share that everybody in my class, and I went to One Spirit in New York City, I would say 95% of the people in my class were in the same boat as me. They had a calling, but they didn't know what they were going to do with it. And most of them worked in different types of roles. And what happened in the evolution of my 2 years, and right before my ordination, the light bulb went off, and I realized that it really wasn't that I had to do anything different. What I had to do was just show up differently and be present and bring everything that I had uncovered in those 2 years to just being who I was at work. And I recently left working that full time, quote unquote, retiring, although that word doesn't really fit. It's more like reinventing. And a lot of the feedback I got when I told people I decided to leave was, who are we going to talk to now, right? Who's going to be present for us? Who's going to be mindful with us, right? And I thought, that's it. That's what I was working towards, was not having a thing that I necessarily did, but how I showed up every day.
No, that's a really good way of putting it, Lauri. It's like showing who you truly are.
Right.
Then that allows other people to be vulnerable and be who they are.
Yep. And we can do that as practitioners. We can do that as mothers, sisters, daughters, friends, as strangers.
No, it's true.
We always do that.
Right. And it's like you said, it's where we're coming from. So
exactly.
Love. And I also agree with you about love. I think love is everything. It's all there is.
It is.
Yeah. Made of love. God is love. It's all, yeah.
Right. It is all we have. So
yeah. So we come from that place. And then for me, it's like whoever I see, that's what I see. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you, I, wasn't there until, a few years ago, several years ago now. It's because it's a journey of ultimately uncovering our true nature so that we can see it in others.
Right.
Really digging deep into who we really are.
Yeah. And I like the way at the beginning you said something about you discovered that you were much more than you thought.
Yes.
It's very deep.
It is. And interestingly, one of the first things that we did in the interspiritual counseling program I did was we did a spiritual life map, which I actually do with a lot of my clients now. Look at your life. We had to look at our lives, not so much as here are the events of my life, but look at what happened in our lives and how whatever language we use, spirit, God, the universe, how did that show up in your life at those different times, or perhaps not show up that you saw, So when I looked at my life that way, it wasn't so much that the things that had happened to me, maybe they really didn't happen to me. The divorce, the this, the that, maybe they were really there to propel my growth spiritually. And it was in looking back on that I had a different, probably a different and maybe deeper perspective on the threads of my life. We all have these threads that follow us, and for me, it was creativity from the time I was a child. It was always drawing and creative. And now I've come full circle and I incorporate that into a lot of the work I do, is helping people discover through creativity aspects of themselves that maybe they hadn't known before. So I combine different things together, and they're all things that have been in my life. I just didn't connect the dots.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
no, that's great, because I think you're right. We all have so much that's underneath all of the layers, because the creativity aspect, like I don't consider myself creative, but I think we all are, just like we're all intuitive.
Yes.
And once you accept that and become aware of it, then you can access it.
Absolutely.
There, it's just not so accessible. So it's great that people like you are able to, it's like you can show people how to tap into it, really. Yeah.
Yes.
And believe in themselves. That's the other piece of it, is letting go of that, all those limiting beliefs about, oh, I'm not creative, I'm not worthy, I'm not smart, whatever it is. We have them.
We do have them, but that's the joy of doing the work that we do, is when we can companion people through that process.
Yeah.
And we see them that way.
Exactly. I mean, we see them that way before they even get started.
Exactly. But that's what drew me to this work, and that's what makes my heart sing. Let's put it that way. When I work with folks.
Yes, absolutely. I also love what I do, and it's and meeting other people who share that. It's really, and also I think, I'm not sure if, let me know what you think. It feels like that whole, like our community is growing. Like there's so many people who are aware, more self-aware, more seeking or looking for this type of assistance or connection out there. Doesn't it feel that way, that it's growing, that there's a lot of light coming onto the planet in general?
Absolutely. And so many people don't know what it is they're looking for, and they don't necessarily see it as spiritual. And this is a conversation I have with many folks, because like you, I offer a half hour, let's just talk, and I hear the same themes. And when I talk to them about, understanding really what spirituality is, and I think that generationally there's a big shift. Spiritual but not religious is, I think of my daughter who's in her early 30s. She's not religious, but yet she feels that there's something more at work. And most of the couples that I marry are that way as well. But putting the words to it and then figuring out how that integrates with day-to-day life can be a little bit trickier. But there's definitely people who are, especially after the past few years, really just feeling like there's, what is next for me?
Right. And some, right. What's happening. And also I get the language of meaning. Like a lot of people are like, what does it mean? Or like they're searching for meaning.
Yes.
That is spirituality.
It is. It's not right. It's not necessarily you may or may not follow a religion, but just finding that, that why you get up in the morning.
Yeah, and that connection to something that's greater than us, to acknowledge that we are not alone, we are not just stuck here by ourselves on earth, we're here, we're connected to so much more, there's so much more that we have access to. That's the resources for us, the spiritual resources, the energy.
Right. Yes.
All of those things. It's so comforting to me to have that, and I think once people experience it, you probably have seen this with people you work with, once they kind of get connected to it, then they have the experience of it. It's not just talking about it. It's like feeling it, experiencing it.
Absolutely. I encourage my clients and all the work that I do to embody the feelings, right? Embody the emotions, whatever it is. That embodiment is so important because our bodies are very wise, and being able to tune into what our body is telling us at any point in time it can be really helpful. And many of us are disconnected from our bodies in that way.
Yeah,
right? So
that's very true.
yes.
So do you teach people how to get more connected to their body, listen to their body?
Yes. Yes. And it's easier for some people than others, but I often just simply ask somebody, how do you feel when you know something is right? Do you listen to your gut? Or what might it feel like when, and I give them some examples and we sit. As a spiritual counselor, I give a lot of spaciousness to my clients to be able to sit and to ask those questions and say, I don't know. And it's okay to not know, but really try to encourage them to experience and to question and to discern what feels right for them. And since I do a lot of work with crystals and color therapy as well, a lot of feeling those energies is very different for everybody. Some people don't, some people do, some people are more sensitive than others. But there's a real power in owning how people feel when you feel something in your body, and being able to say, oh, now I see how it feels. It makes a big difference. Visualization is also a big part, because I also do a shamanic practice with crystals, and visualization is a big part of that. Feeling, right? Using all of your senses in any kind of imaginative scenario. So.
Yeah, because you're right. Some people can sense, but they can't see. Some people see,
Right.
they don't feel. There's all sorts of variations, and everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, and there's also that connection between, what they're feeling in the body and how that is connected to your thoughts, your emotions. All of this translates into your whole belief system, how that informs your day-to-day life, right?
It's fascinating. Everything is spiritual, and everything is energy as well. So you start to look at the world a lot differently when you really start to be curious. As I invite people, just be curious.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of fun to be curious.
Be curious, ask the questions. You may not need
know the answers, but but it's okay to ask.
Yeah, some things we're not meant to know. I do believe that, but there's so much that's available once you just kind of open the door a little bit, then things start more questions come, more.
They do.
You just follow that, like you were saying with the breadcrumbs, that analogy.
Just keep following them, and you see what I wouldn't have thought 10 years ago I'd be where I am, but it was because I was curious and I followed those breadcrumbs, and I discerned what felt right for me and what didn't. And I don't know where the future will bring, but I just keep following those breadcrumbs every day.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And, my mentor who taught me the first energy healing class that I took, and we're still good friends and colleagues, and she's still my mentor. And one point she told me, she goes, what really has made a difference for you, Katie, is because you always say yes to what's next. What do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? Would you like to learn about this? Sure.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
That's really helpful.
I agree.
Because there's no reason not to.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. And that's why I am the same way. I was, try this. Sure, I'll try that there. I tried everything and I still do. I still love learning new and
Yes.
experiencing new and really understanding and really feeling into how does this experience work for me? And the more I experience too, when I have clients that come to me, I can recommend them and say, you may want to, go see this person or that person. Because we all are an interconnected web of healers.
I was just thinking the same thing. We're all one in my life. We're all one. Yes. So we're definitely all connected. And yeah, everything doesn't resonate for everyone. So you just have to try new things and see what lands and then follow that, and then, I've gotten to the point where I kind of know pretty quickly whether it's going to be something I want to pursue further or not. But
Yes.
Initially I didn't. I'm like, I kind of stuck with stuff maybe longer than I, would now, just to try it. And, the other thing, Lauri, that I love about this work is like, I don't think any of us consider ourselves an expert on anything.
No. No, not at all. One of the practices I've done now, it's been like 6 or 7 years, is a shamanic practice from Australia called crystal dreaming. And I love that work. But every year I resit the training every year.
Interesting.
It's a 3-day training because inevitably I learn and experience something new.
Well, that's it. That's the beginner's mind that we talk about.
Absolutely. I just did it again a couple weekends ago, and it wasn't like it was the first time, but I learned a lot and I experienced, things that I hadn't experienced previously. And I just love that. So
that's great. Can you share a little bit about that? We have about 2 more minutes.
Oh, sure.
About the crystal dreaming, maybe?
Well, yes.
Or anything you want to share, crystals in general.
The crystal dreaming practice in particular was developed in Australia, and I just do it in person with my clients. But having my clients, they lie in a mandala of crystals, about 60 crystals that connect them with their higher self, and actually brings them into a state of what I describe as expanded consciousness. And I guide them through a journey of healing, of whatever arises, because the energy of the crystals are resonating in an energy of love, and any hurts, anything that need to be resolved, or perhaps meeting your guides or your higher self, it all comes out in that session, which is a 2-hour session. And it's no two are ever alike. And I've had some life-changing events with people that I'm amazed at.
So I would love to try that.
I would love to do it. I love guiding people.
Okay. So let's
we'll do that. We'll do that.
Let's do that. Okay, cool. Well, this has been so great talking to you. Is there anything else that you didn't share that you would like to? We have about another 30 seconds.
Oh, geez, no, I just really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate your having me on and a chance to talk a bit about me. And
yeah, that's great. I'm going to put your contact up and info up one more little time so people can see. There's your website, lauriingram.com.
That's
they can email you, text you, or
email me. Yes. You contact me through my website. I have chat too, and I'm online sometimes. So
super. Well, thanks again. And I
Thank you
in person. And thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us today to talk to Lauri Ingram. And we'll be signing off right now. Bye.